Andrea McGarry with Dracut Arts. In September, our featured author is Maureen Stanton. In her latest book, Body Leaping Backwards, a memoir of a delinquent childhood, she talks about food and clothing insecurity, which led her and her mother to start shoplifting. Today, we bring you two special guests who run programs which can help you if you find yourself in a similar situation, short of food or short of clothing for yourself or your children. My host, Tom, and my husband, Tom McGarry, will introduce these special women to you, one from Catie's Closet and the other from N68 Hours of Hunger. Tom?
Hi, I'm Tom McGarry, also from Dracut Arts. Our two speakers today are Andrea Connelly, who is the project coordinator for Dracut of N68 Hours of Hunger. And that 68 hours refers to the time between the last class on Friday and the first class on Monday, where many children end up going hungry. Our second speaker is Mickey Cockrell, who is the CEO and co-founder with her three sisters of Catie's Closet. So first we'll hear from Andrea. Please go, Andrea.
Good afternoon. So my name is Andrea. I am the co-coordinator of the N68 Hours of Hunger in Dracut. We began the program in Dracut almost 5 years ago. September will be 5 years. Started with 6 children that we served weekly with backpacks. Our backpacks are handed out by the schools. They're filled with non-perishable foods. The program is completely run by volunteers. Everything that goes into the backpacks is donated food. All of our finances, all of our money resources are all donated. Everything is 100% donated or volunteer driven. So we started with 6 children. We finished this year in March when school was put out for COVID. We finished this year at 32 children a week that we take care of. And when school returns in September, hopefully, we are extending our reach from the Dracut Public Schools only to include Innovation Academy in Tingsboro, Mass. And Innovation houses students from 9 different communities surrounding us in the Merrimack Valley. So we're expecting that our backpack number will probably more than double once we're established in that school system. The backpacks go home every Friday afternoon with the children. It's complete anonymity. We don't know who the children are. The school contacts me or one of my team members and lets us know that they have a certain number of children in the school. We deliver that number of backpacks to the school on Fridays. The children pick the backpacks up in the office, bring them home, and they return the empty backpacks on Monday mornings. We collect those and fill them back up, and the cycle continues. So the program is actually a nationwide program. It started in Somersworth, New Hampshire by a retired naval officer, Claire Bloom. She began this program out of a need in her community, obviously, and it has since grown all down the East Coast. There are programs throughout the East Coast of New Hampshire. We have an entire county in Ohio. We have a program in California. We have 1 or 2 programs in Florida, and I believe we have one in Puerto Rico as well. If you go to the web page, you can donate through the web page, and you can specify which program you want it to go for, because all of Dracut funds, if you specify a donation for Dracut, that money will stay in Dracut. It doesn't get distributed to any other program. No other program has access to my funds. I have access to nobody else's funds. So all of the money or food donations that Dracut raises stays right in the Dracut community, the Dracut program.
Let's listen to what one of the people involved in the beginning said about this.
This is my 30-second elevator speech. Childhood hunger is a nearly invisible problem. And yet, there are children in every single community in America who are hungry for 68 hours. From the time they get their free lunch in school on Friday to their free breakfast Sunday morning. N68 Hours of Hunger is a 100% volunteer organization. We commit 100% of the funds we collect to the purchase of food. We package that food up and we deliver it to the schools. They get right to the children. And what we know is that if we feed these children on the weekends, they have 50% higher reading scores, 30% higher math scores, and are twice as likely to successfully complete the third grade, which is one of the primary indicators of high school graduation.
That's amazing to me, that just getting enough food on the weekend can change whether you're successful in high school and whether you're successful in your life. That's just so amazing to me.
It is. We've heard, and it's been studied, that children who suffer from food insecurity, especially over a weekend, become agitated, aggressive, and unable to focus, sometimes as early as Thursday morning, because they know that weekend is coming. They know that there isn't anything to eat in the house, or very little to eat. So they get nervous and they get upset, and it derails their entire education, because they lose 2 days and possibly a third, because then they come back Monday morning and they haven't had substantial food over the weekend, and now the teacher's got to kind of pull them back into the educational system and pull them back into what things are for real. And then they have, part of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then that anxiety begins to build again Thursday morning. So they're not even getting a full week of education, which means they're more likely to not promote with their peers, possibly drop out before high school is completed, and not go on to college.
Well, if you can't, I was thinking about this I used to homeschool my children. Well, I used to, because they're all grown now. But by the end of third grade, everyone had the basic math skills, right? Arithmetic, and the 3 R's: arithmetic, reading, and writing. And
Right.
if you don't get all those basics, everything grows from that. If you can read, you can learn anything. If you can add, you can figure anything out.
Right.
My son
Right.
is looking to get a car, and he's like figuring out, wait a minute, if I get a car loan, I'm paying this much over what the price is. So it's really, the car costs more. If he couldn't add, if he didn't know how to multiply, he wouldn't be able to do that.
Right.
Basic information.
The basic information, basic knowledge that they have and that they would obtain, in the first 3 or 4 grades of school, could be lost to a lot of these kids. We have children that take our backpacks as young as kindergarten and right up through high school. And it's right here in our town, and it really kind of shocked me when I started the program, because we're not well off, but I'm middle class, and I never really expected that this kind of issue existed here in Dracut, but it does.
These issues
And
exist everywhere.
and the community has really rallied behind it. It's Dracut community is an awesome place, and they're wonderful people, and they have supported this program for the last 4.5, 5 years. I have made amazing friendships and met wonderful people through this, and I hope that my goal is to make sure that not only are the children and their families that are struggling helped and taken care of, but that the children that aren't struggling, that are okay, that they come up, they grow up understanding that, your neighbor may not be up as well off as you, and it's kind of our job to look out for each other.
Sure, of course. Of course, we don't live by ourselves. So here's the contact information if anybody wishes to get in touch with Andrea. And there's 2 drop-off places. And this is going to continue through this, whether or not the school's open, you will still be able to help people.
Yes, yes, because over the summer, generally, and during the whole COVID pandemic, we have been able to contact the families through the schools and ask, if you want to make yourself known to us, name-wise or an email, we will put together boxes of food, and we coordinated ourselves with the schedule of the local food pantries here in Dracut, so that we weren't overloading them with food items on a week they could go to one of the food pantries. So we tried to hit a weekend that the food pantries weren't open. And we put together 3 or 4 boxes per family, and we are able to provide them over this pandemic and during the course of the summer with some additional food items.
Right,
and hopefully once they go back to school, we'll be able to return to the backpacks.
Right, and that's from Dracut Old Home Day last year, right? Which is canceled this year, unfortunately.
Yes. We have been at every single Dracut Old Homes Days since we began 5 years ago. I'm really sad that it's not happening this year, and this is one of our donations. We have, the Dracut Rotary Club does donations for us. The Church of St. Francis does amazing things for us. We have a lot of churches, a lot of organizations locally. Lowell General just gave us an amazing grant through their Circle Health program. And this is a picture of some of the backpacks that we put together. As you can see, they're general run-of-the-mill everyday backpacks that they don't have our logo on them, so we're trying to make it as anonymous as possible so that the kids can take them and not be concerned that, hey, somebody's going to see the N68 Hours logo on there, and
right,
and we'll get picked on for something.
Yeah, you don't want people to get picked on.
Right. We have run, that is actually a table that we had at a craft fair that we had last spring, and that we were hoping to have again this spring. And because of the pandemic, again, we've kind of put it off. We're hoping to do it before the end of the year, possibly this fall. But all of the things that we do, everything is donated. So if we run a craft fair, the craft is paid for their tables, of course, but when we run raffles at these craft fairs, we go out to our local businesses and ask for donations of gift cards and gift baskets and merchandise. And again, the Dracut community has been an amazing thing. They've done amazing things in donating to us and making sure that we have things to run our craft fairs and our raffle tables and raise money to help these children.
Well, let's talk about the other wonderful charity that Dracut has, Catie's Closet. Can you give us a little bit of information about that, Andrea? Mickey?
Yes, absolutely. Catie's Closet actually began in 2010, and it was co-founded by actually 7 family members, but for 3 of my sisters as well. And what happened was in 2009, a newspaper reporter from the Lowell Sun had shadowed 2 kids who were homeless, attending Lowell High and living in the tent city under the bridge. And this reporter had chronicled what these 2 kids had to go through in a given week to survive. What happened to them? What did they need to do in order to get to school? And we were horrified. We're a family born and brought up in the community here, and we couldn't understand why this was happening. And meanwhile, my niece was the second reason. And Catie was born with an unknown illness, and 2 doctors using her tissue discovered it when she was 15 and gave it a name, even though she suffered with this condition since she was born. It was called Lowe's-Dietz syndrome. And she was in the hospital about to have another surgery when my sister, her mom, went in there with this article and said, "Kate, you attended Lowell High. Did you know there were kids in your school that were homeless and that were struggling to get to school?" And she said, "Yeah, Mom, but all they want is a chance to go, a chance to be like everyone else and go to school. And it just really, it struck us. We couldn't imagine why. And she illuminated the problem for us. She told us that access to clothing and basic necessities was a problem, that kids just did not have what they need. And rather than go to school and be bullied or go to school and feel uncomfortable, they would prefer not to go. Well, Kate passed away 3-4 months after that article came out, and her words just haunted us. And her mom, Anne Marie, wanted to do something to help those kids, and Lowell High had asked if we wanted a scholarship in her name, and Anne Marie thought, what's that going to do? You know, how does that work? How many kids are we going to help? Yeah. And I was in retail my entire life. I was a vice president at Kohl's most recently. And so we concocted this idea to build this store in the school. So we partnered with Lowell High. They gave us a space, and we created our first closet in 2010. We took this unused room and imagined it like an Old Navy. So this wonderful store that a student could walk in and shop whenever they need something, as often as they want, whenever they needed it right away. And within the first several months, we had 1,700 of the students walk in there and need our services. From that day, the phone started ringing. And every other school in the community was asking about this resource. We heard you had this store at Lowell High. Could we have one? And we thought, oh, there's several of us. We could do another. We could do another. So morph to today, from what you can see in this slide, is that we are in 85 schools serving 55,000 kids now in Massachusetts and Southern New Hampshire. So our business model is very much a hub and spoke. So we have a central distribution center located in Dracut that serves the Merrimack Valley, and it's designed to serve 50 schools, 50,000 children. And in answer to the need in the state, we opened the second one in Boston. And we are operating 28 schools in the city at this point, and we're working on our third one in Springfield. We have 14 schools in New Hampshire. So the way this works really is it's a very low cost, productive business model. So we receive free donations from the community. The community donates their clothing and basic necessities. We only provide brand new full-size toiletries and underwear and socks. But meanwhile, the community provides, their no longer needed gently used clothes. And we fill the stores in the schools with this clothing. When COVID hit, the school shut down in March, and yet a need for our resources still prevailed.
People still need clothes.
Yes, exactly. And more importantly, to mitigate the spread of the disease, they needed access to soap, shampoo, toothpaste, toothbrush, deodorant, and the other component that is in high demand for us is feminine product, because it is so costly. So what we did was partner with the meal sites in the school districts that we serve, and we've delivered over 460,000 units over the last 3 months since March. And so we drop off, thousands of units of toiletries, and the community picks it up at the meal sites at the same time as they get their food. So we will continue this program through the summer, and then are preparing for back to school in September. We know at some point that whether it's a hybrid model or full school opening, or if they continue to distance learn, we will be there. So we will be there for them in any capacity. Our closets will be full, and you can access that there. And we also work through our other social service agencies in the community. So DCF, International Institute for our newly arriving refugees, or the social workers in each of the school. So how does somebody in the community access help? They do it through their school. So if you find yourself in need and you don't know how the kids are going to get ready for school, or whether it's remote learning or in class, then you call the school and work with the social workers there in order to work with us and place an order. And then there's a myriad of ways that we connect with you to make that happen. So now, how can the community help? I mean, that's where we really need you. So Our distribution centers, both in Dracut and Boston, are open to receive your donations in a very protected, socially distant way. So we have brown bins in front of our door, and you can leave your donations there. We take them in after you leave, so you do not need to come in contact with anyone. And you can still host a drive here. It's a virtual drive. So if you could spread the word and be an ambassador for Catie's Closet, it would be great to tell your friends and family and everyone that we could really use their no longer needed gently used clothes. And they can drop it off at our distribution centers. You can have them drop off as a big party at your home. And if you're running a very large virtual event, we can send our truck over to pick it up. Potentially, and that we negotiate, one at a time with each person. But, virtually anyone can clean out their closet, and anyone can fill, a couple of bags and maybe drop it off. We actually serve pre-K through 12th grade. So we're there. We even take infant and toddler clothing because of our pre-K. Some of our kids are very, very tiny. Or in addition, the family is just really struggling right now. And, if one of our students has a younger sibling, then if it is donated to us, then we gladly pass it on. Our core mission, the reason we do this, is to curb chronic absenteeism and improve graduation rates. Because the schools make available 2 meals and a snack, and Andrea's program with 68 Hours of Hunger, which takes them right through the weekend, school's a good place to run to. And we want you to run towards school for your solution, because the only way to break the cycle of poverty is through education. So we already know you're going to get 2 meals and a snack. Now you have access to clothing and basic necessities. It's a good reason to go. And then meanwhile, you'll be able to focus on school. What's so transformational about Catie's Closet is students can be self-identified or identified by our school partners, and they can come in and right off the street, homeless and being in a bad place. And in minutes, they pass through Catie's Closet, they get outfitted from head to toe, they land in their classroom in 5 minutes, feeling valued, feeling like their peers, and able to focus on their education rather than worrying about how they were going to get through the day.
Well, I also saw somewhere in there that you supply people with job interview clothes, which is a different type of clothing than what you wear to school.
Absolutely. So we expanded that program in our high schools because exactly that. Not everyone is college bound. They may have to wear a certain color or a certain element of something, and they're going to go interview and they want to, look good. They might only own sweats, and they can go in there and they can find a great top and bottom and go to their interview. And certainly that is 16 and over for the most part. So it's our juniors and seniors in high school, but it's another element that that's
and
just
ties
really
and suits for some people, right?
Yes. Yep. Oh, yes. We also help them with, we're kind of fairy godmothers in there. So when it comes to prom time, we put prom dresses in there to give them a great experience. The boys get suits or, whatever they need. We love it when, we will hear testimonials from our students that the only reason why they're able to come to school is because of Catie's Closet, and because it really has helped them. They're graduating and they're winning an award, and they're coming to Catie's Closet to collect, their outfit that they're going to wear at graduation.
That is so cool.
It's just full circle,
So
it's
keeping
good.
people clothed and keeping people fed. Basic necessities in life. They're so important.
You're 100% right. And Andrea said it so perfectly in terms of, when you're under 18 years old, who can advocate for you? Children under 18 that are unaccompanied can't enter shelter. Children under 18 just don't have the resources to get what they need. And if we're not there as a community to wrap around these services and really help them, they don't have a chance. In some cases, and I'm sure Andrea agrees, we're helping 3rd and 4th generation poverty. They've just been stuck in this, circle for so long. And I just think what you're doing right now with Dracut Arts is totally amazing. The fact that Andrea and I are here together and we're both doing the same thing, bringing resources to school where the students are immediately, where they don't need to find transportation to get to, they don't need a litmus test to qualify, they don't fill out paperwork, they just, in a dignified way,
Right.
get support, and all because of the community, all because of, all the communities that you're broadcasting in right now, because we're in the majority of them. So if not all of them, we serve Billerica and Tingsboro and Lowell and Dracut and Chelmsford and Innovation Academy and you name it. I mean, every place that you've mentioned, we're doing the same thing. So we're a great team here. Yeah, really.
So as we wrap up, is there any more points that either of you ladies would like to bring forward?
I would just say, please visit our website, catiescloset.org, and find out all the ways you can help. It will tell you about how to host a drive or how to help in other ways. If you're a sewer, we even have a project going on right now where you can reimagine jeans. We have the product for you, and you can cut them up and make them into all kinds of new product for our students. But, we have so many resources and ways for you to help, and we would just love the community to come together. We have a lofty job in front of us to get kids back to school on September 2nd. So anything you can do to
even if they're not in school, we still have the resources, right? So
exactly. We still have to help them whether they're distance learning or not. Exactly.
Yeah, because we have no idea what's going to happen in school, but you guys are going to stay solid. That's what it seems like. You're staying solidly behind.
We will be there, right, Andrea?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. That's incredible work, ladies. Thank you very much.
Thank you both. It was such a pleasure to meet you and to hear about your programs.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting us.
Oh, of course. And if you need more information about either project, we will have them up on our website, dracutarts.org. Please look for N68 Hours of Hunger and Catie's Closet. Help support these programs, and if you need their support, let us know. Let them know.